Guys, AC here. Welcome to another list. Now, today is Diwali. Diwali is one of the most popular, one of the most widely celebrated Indian festivals. That's why I'm in my ethnic Indian wear. And I've been thinking about doing this review for a while. And I thought I'll do something on Diwali night. What should it be? And I've chosen the topic of opulence. The reason being, Diwali is a festival which is associated with opulence. Yeah? So there are two main reasons people celebrate Diwali in India. One is to ask the Almighty for opulence, for wealth, for luxury and whatnot. Yeah? So the Indian goddess of wealth and well-being and prosperity is worshipped on this day. And the other aspect is it being known as a festival of lights. The reason being, there's an old Indian culture of seeking enlightenment through wisdom of true knowledge. Yeah. So those are the two main reasons Diwali is celebrated. And it being a festival which is associated with joyous, stuff, if you like, I chose the subject of opulence, and I've got many fragrances, as you know, and some of those fragrances are extremely opulent. They're very rich. So I said, okay, let me try and do a two-part series. Yeah. So let's start. So all these fragrances that I'm going to show you primarily majority of them fall in the category of Orientals. The reason they fall in the category of Orientals is because Oriental perfumery, if you like, gives the perfumer the avenue, the choice of using extremely rich materials. So what are true Orientals? True Orientals will have deep narcotic florals. They will have very deep full-on woods, sandalwood being one, oud being the other. They will also have very deep notes like leather and spices. Yeah, the choices of spices are coumarin or cumin. They're different things. Coumarin comes from a plant. Cumin is basically used in culinary dishes, Asian dishes. They'll have notes like cinnamon. They will have nutmeg. So these fragrances that I'm going to show you are middle of the road fragrances. They're either hate or love. There is no in between with these fragrances. So let's start. Number one on my list is a fragrance. When it came out, it absolutely stunned one and all. Yeah, it came out in 1977. It's by house Yves Saint Laurent, and the name of the fragrance is Opium. The bottle I'm showing you is from 90s, I believe. It's a 90s vintage, and this is an eau de toilette. I can only imagine what the extrait and the eau de parfum smells like because this is so strong. This is so strong, the EDT, that I can hardly wear this. I really have to think when I want to wear this. This is for ladies, by the way. But there are notes in here which make this fragrance pretty wearable for by men's today. So this fragrance, the bottle design, Pierre Dinand. Yeah, this whole thing, the whole concept of opium was so beautifully constructed. The fragrance, as I said, when it came out, it absolutely stunned everybody because it took Oriental and took it to a next level. So the notes here, orange, ylang-ylang, tolu balsam, aldehydes. So this is a very aldehydic fragrance when it starts off. But ylang-ylang and orange create this outstanding aura of sensuality. It is one of the most sensual fragrances, one of the most narcotic fragrances that I have got in my collection. And it doesn't surprise me that this fragrance was called Opium. There's the current new versions called Black Opium and so on and so forth, which are great fragrances. But this, in terms of the word opulence, this takes the cake. This is an absolutely through the roof opulence. If you like Middle Eastern perfumery, if you like very rich and opulent fragrances, give this one a try. I suspect you already have. You want the vintage. So Opium is the first one by Yves Saint Laurent Vintage Eau de Toilette. You can go for the Eau de Parfum, but I tell you what, this is extremely strong. So I don't know what the eau de parfum will smell like. Okay, next fragrance on my list is a house that I've just recently reviewed. This fragrance has not been reviewed by me as yet. It's the house of Cartier. This fragrance came out in 1981, and when this fragrance came out, it pushed the boundaries of Oriental perfumery for men, right? This is basically a marriage of contrasts, and they've used the fragrance. Okay, let me show you the fragrance first. Here's the packaging. This is the original 1980s vintage. Here is the original packaging. I mean, look at that. Where do you get fragrances nowadays that look like this? Yeah, this is one of those treasured fragrances. I really look after it. I take care of it. This is again a fragrance which I really struggle to wear, but I worn it quite a lot. And this is a really old bottle, so I take care of it. A little bit left, and I'm going to keep it running for a long time because I wear it very seldom. Okay, marriage of contrasts. There are two main structures to this fragrance. Number one, Shalimar by Guerlain. So that's a very legendary Oriental. This has got notes like benzoin and vanilla, very alcoholic vanilla if you like. It marries it with green notes. It brings in some florals, right? But when you spray it, you'll not see the relationship between Guerlain, Shalimar and alliage, but you will sort of start associating with Shalimar in its dry down. And Shalimar, as you know, is one of the most outstanding Orientals there is. So this is a different take on Shalimar and brings in not fresh, but green notes. But they are not sort of dark green, they're sort of sprightly green. It has aldehydes in it as well. But the main thing is, it is an absolutely rich, manly, complex fragrance which you want to wear to a special occasion, right? This is all there is to the word opulence. I wouldn't want to wear this on a day-to-day basis. I want to wear it when it's a special day. So there you go. Santos de Cartier by Cartier. Okay, so next one on my list is a Roja. And you know the male counterpart, this is for females. The male counterpart is, respected and loved by one and all. Enigma. This is Enigma Femme, right? And this is the extrait de parfum concentration. Boys, this fragrance, if you're looking for opulent and rich fragrances, and gender classifications mean nothing to me. Now this fragrance smells like entering a luxurious Oriental garden, literally. One of the most expensive ingredients in perfumery is used in this fragrance, and this gets very little talk, especially in our blogs, in our male perfumery circles. Now this fragrance is basically based and centered around fruits. So the most prominent one is peach, but there are other fruit notes, but they're fresh fruits. It doesn't smell like dry fruits. Fresh fruits, along with a very prominent ylang ylang. And then orris root, so slightly powdery, and ambergris. And you know how it smells, real ambergris, with the most authentic sandalwood I've ever smelled. This is a true Oriental, and this is just one of those fragrances which you apply and you are in paradise. One spray, that's all you need, yeah? But the sense of richness, of opulence, of abundance surrounds you when you apply this fragrance. And the way it smells, you can wear it during daytime or nighttime, summer or winter. And that's craftsmanship. That's craftsmanship of expensive fragrances. They don't disintegrate. They don't smell awkward or bad in warm weather. So Enigma Femme is number 3 on my list. Well, this is not a numbered list. I'm just trying to pick fragrances and show you which I think are tremendously opulent. Next again is a Roja, and Roja himself calls this one of his best creations. It is not a full bottle, it's Diaghilev. Diaghilev, according to Roja, Mr. Roja Dav, he thinks, and boy, He thinks this is his best creation. And I'm telling you, this is like dirty sex in a bottle. Diaghilev. Now, Roja used to work for Guerlain, and this is heavily inspired by Mitsauko. And Mitsauko has this is brilliant. This is heavy stuff. So what does this have? It has many notes, but the prominent ones are oak moss, civet, leather, fruits, and florals. Ylang ylang, I believe. And this is again one of the most narcotic, one of the most dazzling fragrances that you will smell. But this has got a very dark side to it. It smells like dirty sex, sweat, human body odor. Enter a room after people have had sex in it, or yourself, and you will see what I mean. This is like a sex in bottle. One of the most opulent, rich, narcotic, sexual fragrances you can imagine. And as I said, it's based on Mitsauko, Extrait de Parfum. So, next on my list is a fragrance by Arabian Oud. I'm yet to review it, and this fragrance, boy oh boy oh boy, this is called Aseel by Arabian Oud. And if you look at the bottle shape, it looks like a horseshoe. And the bottle shape itself tells you, or the presentation tells you, that you're about to smell something absolutely stunning. And I'm telling you, this is full on vanilla. There are two types of vanilla in this: normal vanilla, bourbon vanilla, and black vanilla. It has got the most deep, dark green tea, if you like. Not green tea, but black tea. Yeah, very profound black tea. Along with it, there's the most opulent oud you can smell, you can imagine. Cambodian oud. So, oh boy, this is again nighttime fragrance for special occasions. Aseel, opulent, rich oud, along with tea, along with vanilla. Superb. I would wear this to a special date. That's how special this fragrance is. Aseel. So, 5 gone, 5 more to come. Let's do some designers, fellas. This fragrance is everybody's favorite. Everybody knows about it. It is pure malt. Yeah? It's my scent of the night for Diwali. Excuse me. The fragrance in itself is just a revelation. How do you take fruits, dry fruits or normal fruits, mix it with a note of whiskey, and then add in some tar, I believe, and you create this, and coffee, and you create this amazing going out fragrance. Amazing, just amazing. The only problem with this fragrance is, this is again one of those fragrances that you have to really think, at least I have to. It's not highly wearable, but the richness, the opulence, the beauty of this fragrance is no mystery to anybody. If you're a serious clubber, you probably know about this fragrance. You already haven't smelled this, you should try. Pure Malt by Thierry Mugler. So, next on my list is again a designer which doesn't get a lot of talk. It's by the house of Dsquared, and it's called Potion. There are 2 fragrances. One is Royal Black Potion and this one. This is the Eau de Parfum concentration, and this one is one of those fragrances that pushes the boundaries. Yeah? Oh man. Oh, this fragrance uses cashmere along with vanilla, along with some powdery notes, along with some florals. It has this beautiful, deep, narcotic heart, but it's very, very powdery, and sometimes this fragrance smells like warm milk. Yeah, the richness and the deepness of this fragrance will really hit you. It's an evening time fragrance, cold weather. It is spectacular, and it pushes all boundaries, and it's a very cheap designer. I think this is discontinued and hard to get, but if you do get your hands on this, get it, because if you like deep, rich, really warm fragrances, the warmth of this fragrance is phenomenal. So this is Dsquared Potion. Next on my list is a fragrance which I recently reviewed. It's one of my absolute favorites. Dior Parfum. What do I say about this, guys? You check out my review. I poured my heart into that review. Now this one has got a very deep leather, and it's got the signature Dior DNA iris. Ah, beautiful iris, guys. And it's got oud, and it creates this magical, very, very stylish but dark, slightly edgy, very stylish fragrance. Again, night out fragrance, absolutely brimming with opulence of leather, iris, sandalwood and oud. Superb fragrance. Hard to get hold of though, and I've heard this has been discontinued, but I don't think it is widely available. So I'm glad I have a bottle. Probably get a backup bottle as well, because I absolutely adore this fragrance. Last two, and these two are going to knock your socks off. Next one is a fragrance which was released and basically is a sequel to a fragrance that was released in 1920s. This one was released in 2012. It is by a house called Molinard, a house which doesn't get a lot of talk, and the name of the fragrance is Habanita. Eau de Parfum. Oh my word, this is a perfect, dark, seductress fragrance of a very dark nature. Yeah? Released 2012, fellas. If you compare this to the EDT, the original is amazing, equally amazing, but this is a different fragrance. And I can't believe in 2012 somebody had the gumption to create a fragrance like this. This smells from the last century. As I said, oh my word. So the notes. This is centered around an oriental theme with leather at its heart. But at the top, there are notes like mastic or mastic. I've never smelt it in my life. This is the first time I've smelt mastic in a fragrance. I can tell you what it smells like or feels like. You know, take Wrigley's chewing gum, fresh out of the wrapper, put it in your mouth. It's chalky, and the one I really thought it was similar to was the cinnamon flavored. So cinnamon flavored chewing gum, Wrigley's. You put it in your mouth, the texture when you start chewing it. That's how mastic feels like. This is how the fragrance starts. And it is very complex. I'm going to do a fill review. But the opulence, the richness, the complexity, the development of this fragrance is absolutely mind-boggling, right? And it is so complex that Roja Dove borrowed the idea for its own fragrance called Enslaved. Enslaved is roughly based on Habanita. Most probably it is based on the EDT formulation. But I wanted to drop that in to just give you an idea of how complex this fragrance is. If you're into rich, complex, transformative fragrances, Molinard's Habanita, you should get your nose into it. Amazing. The last one is an absolute rock star. I recently got this. I've been a big fan of this fragrance, but the current formulation. This fragrance was released in 1992. It is a Guerlain. I recently got the original vintage version, and it knocked my socks off. I had never smelled anything like this before. Heritage EDT by Guerlain. Recently got it last week or maybe 2 weeks ago, and I have completely been taken aback by the absolute complexity of this fragrance. Look at the bottle, fellas. It's a splash bottle. I just do this. Oh man, there is nothing in my collection which can beat this fragrance. You want the EDT version and you want the vintage version. Find out somehow and get a bottle. If you're a serious connoisseur, this fragrance kicks ass. And I'll tell you, once I've smelled this, there's a fragrance by Roja Dove which I really like. It's called Danger. Danger, which is a 250-pound eau de parfum fragrance, can't even hold a candle to this, right? And this is only an eau de toilette. The complexity and the richness of this fragrance absolutely knocked my socks off. This fragrance is centered around 3 or 4 main notes. Patchouli, big patchouli. Sandalwood, I believe there is lavender, and there is huge oak moss. Absolute full-on oak moss. And when you spray it on, you feel regal. This is, as I said, a rock star fragrance. And, it makes sense that so many successful fragrances have copied this DNA. So, the ones that have copied this DNA, number 1 is Coromandel by Chanel. Try and get Coromandel, vintage version. It was an EDT, now it's being sold as an EDP. The EDT, for 250, I think you'll get a 125 ml bottle or whatever. So, highly rated, yeah, that's Chanel. Then, Patchouli Imperial by Dior copies this. In fact, this is the grandfather or father, if you like, to Femme de Guerlain, which is where the sandalwood and the patchouli combination along with anise was brought in, and it created sensation. If you like Femme de Guerlain, try this, and if you can get hold of the vintage version, it'll, it's just mind-boggling. It's a very rewarding experience wearing this fragrance. I think I have marketed this enough. You should try it yourself. Well, I hope you liked the first part. The second part will be coming soon. Take care. Bye-bye.